Heidi-ho neighbors, RadoGoji here, and welcome to another RadoVlog thing. Yay! I actually already recorded this, but then my phone did that thing that it does, and split it up into two videos with, and I didn't even notice, but it was like, half a sentence was taken out, like in the middle of a sentence. Because the video went up to like 40 minutes long total. So I'm going to try to not do that again. Anyway, I did want to first off do an update thing about my channel. You may have noticed that there were no updates this past week, and that's mainly because Greg and I have been getting together on Thursdays to stream, and this past Thursday was Thanksgiving, so obviously he and I were spending time with our respective families in observance of the holiday. And you know, my brother was even up for like the week, and it was really cool. Got to hang out and all kinds of stuff. It was pretty cool. Pretty fun. Anyway, I did kind of want to just give a heads up. There may not be a streaming update this week either. It depends on if Greg and I can agree on a day we can get together. Like I said, we do normally get together on Thursdays, but my schedule at work has changed. You see, I used to work the night shift during the week. My basic work schedule was Monday through Thursday, 1 p.m. to 10 p.m., and then Saturday from 8 to 5, like 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. And basically the way it would work out is we would get together on Thursday nights because, like Fridays, I was kind of iffy about getting together, going out places and doing stuff because I would have to go to bed relatively early for Saturday because I worked the morning shift. But Thursdays, like, I would get home at like 10:30, but then, you know, Greg could come over around that time because, you know, he's already put his son to bed and all that, so he can just, you know, come over and we would stream for a few hours because I didn't have to get up in the morning. But now my work schedule has changed, and I work during the day shift during the week now, and my day off during the week is Wednesday now, not Friday. So I'm basically Monday, Tuesday, 8 to 5, and then Thursday through Saturday, 8 to 5. Wednesday and Sunday, rather, I have off. You know, but I would still have to go to bed at a relatively early time. By relatively early, I mean like midnight. Like, for years, I was just going to bed whenever, like 2 or 3 in the morning. But on the bright side, having this kind of schedule is a little bit more friendly for me doing things. Just, you know, doing things like recording videos. That's a thing I can do now, like, more often. Because before it was, I mean, yeah, Thursdays I would get together with Greg, but most days it was just like I'm getting home at like 10:30 at night. Work is the only thing I did during the day because I got up at like 11 a.m. to be at work, to get ready to be at work at 1. And then I would just get home and maybe like stay up until usually around 2 a.m. So that I could get enough sleep to, you know, function the next day. I mean, I didn't want to stay. I mean, there were some days where I stayed up until 3, maybe 4 o'clock, and it didn't really affect me too much, so that was fine. But at the same time, you know, I think that getting up, like, I get up at 6:30 in the morning to you know, be at work in the mornings, but I think this will actually do me a lot of good. I mean, not just from a standpoint of I can record videos now, you know, and I'm not, you know, tired as hell at 5:30 in the morning, or 5:30 at night when I get home. But also from, you know, like, a more of a morale aspect, I'm on more of an actual, like, real life normal schedule. Like, I'm not eating breakfast at, like, noon and eating dinner at 11 at night. It's great. It's really kind of great. I like it a lot. But so I don't know when would be good. We're still kind of trying to talk it out, find out what works best, because as of now, the only days that I wouldn't have to get up early, or I wouldn't have to, you know, go to bed or early to wake up in the morning, are Tuesdays and Sundays. And during the, you know, obviously during the weekend, Greg's going to be wanting to spend time with his family, and I understand that. But he also said that Tuesdays he kind of has weekly plans with his wife, so we're still trying to, work something out. We can technically, hang out anytime, because especially with these earlier times, so I don't think it'll really affect too much, but, we're just still kind of, feeling around and seeing what we can do. That came out naughty. Anyway, what was I? Oh, yes. Another major, breakthrough that's going to be coming up is actually fairly soon. Sunday is my birthday, and I'm going to be getting my new capture device, which means that I can record things that aren't on the PS4, and I don't have a strict 15-minute limit for everything. And I'm also going to be getting my computer around the same time, or at the same time, rather. So it's going to be a lot easier to edit things, and I really think this is going to work out a lot better for me, for my Let's Plays on the channel. I have a lot more variety of what I can do. I can, record pretty much anything right at the moment. I can record anything except for, like, Vita and DS and 3DS games, because I may even get, like, a PlayStation TV just to record Vita games at one point. But, I'm not really going to go out of my way at this time to go out and get, like, a capture-ready DS or 3DS. That would be kind of, and it's kind of expensive for one thing, and, yeah, it's not something that I would really want to go for right now. But like everything else is fine. I can record whatever I want. So, I'm really getting really excited. Looking forward to that. Plus, I can use my Techo soon. On a more minor note, today is Wednesday. As I'm recording this, is Wednesday, November 30th, and tomorrow is December. So that means that I can start using my Techo technically. It doesn't have full pages for December days, but it does have a calendar grid and stuff for December 2016, so I can technically start using it for things. That'll be pretty cool. I spent a lot of money on that, and now I'm finally going to get to use it. Huzzah. But other than that, yeah, I've just been, I have been playing a lot of Pokemon Sun. Trying to segue into this, because this is mainly what I talked about in my last take as well. I've been working a lot on my backlog list. And, well, I haven't been working on my backlog list because of Pokemon. I actually had it planned out so that once Dragon Quest Builders came out, I would put my backlog list on my game backlog on hold, play through Dragon Quest Builders, then play through Pokemon, and then on to whatever else I wanted to do with the backlog. I actually finished my last backlog game before a couple days before Dragon Quest came out, so that actually worked out fairly well. And I've actually done a lot more in this backlog endeavor than I have in all my past endeavors. It's mainly because I've stuck with, like, after I beat Persona Q and the list officially started, I was like, okay, no more RPGs until Pokemon comes out, then I'll just play that. But and so most of these games are like action games that I could just beat fairly quickly anyway. Let me get my list here. See what I've basically ticked off, or crossed off, or scratched off, because I haven't completed all these games either. But what I have done, I did start, like, most of these are on the 3DS, like, all these are on the 3DS, actually, because I play my 3DS more than anything. I did technically start Goemon's Great Adventure on the N64. I only had 2 sessions with it, and then for whatever reason, I kind of ADD'd off of it. Also, I started Final Fantasy XIV around that time, which was a huge mistake. My subscription is almost up for that now, and I don't think I'm going to be renewing it anytime soon. I just want to get more of this done. But what I have beaten, all of this is on the 3DS, so mostly Virtual Console games. Mystical Ninja Star and Goemon for the Game Boy. I do not recommend that. That game is bad. I'm surprised I actually had... I mean, it really didn't take a lot of patience to finish. It wasn't super hard, but it was bad. Okay, it was not super hard since I used save states, because those mini games are a pain in the ass, and that's what kills you, is the mini games. And you don't have any lives or continues. You have passwords, but that's it. There's Mystical Ninja, not Mystical Ninja Starring, the other Mystical Ninja, Legend of the Mystical Ninja on the Super Nintendo. That is a good game. I would recommend that. Now just kind of going down the list here of what else, because after that was Triforce Heroes. Triforce Heroes, I already told the Triforce Heroes story, so I'm not going to go into detail again, but that was one of the, because I kind of have this, I call it abandoned ship. If for whatever reason a game starts pissing me off, or if I just really don't like it, can't get into it, I'll just scratch it off the list and get rid of it. I did that with Triforce Heroes. Gargoyles Quest 2, The Demon Darkness for the NES. That was okay. I liked the first Gargoyles Quest a bit more, but for what it is, not bad. I am kind of looking forward to playing Devil's Crest at some point in the future, but I don't own it yet, and it's not on my backlog, so that's going to be for the way future for now. Wario Land 1 through 4. Now, obviously, I have played Wario Land 1. I've done a Let's Play of Wario Land 1. I've played that many times. I mainly had that kind of on as a as an honorary member because I was playing through 2 through 4. But 2 through 4, I was actually kind of surprised how consistently good they were. I was really surprised. They're super fun. Especially Wario Land 4. I was incredibly surprised at how fun Super Mario Land. How fun Wario Land 4 was. It had time limits and stuff, a whole bunch of things that I normally wouldn't like. But it was actually super fun and really good, so I'm glad that I played through that. All of them, really. 2, 3, and 4, check them out if you can. Although 4 you wouldn't be able to get on a normal 3DS nowadays. I have an ambassador system, so that's why I have 4 on there, but you can get it on the Wii U. It was a Game Boy Advance game, so that's why it's not really readily available. Super Mario World. That was actually one that you might be surprised to learn that was on that list. I have never beaten Super Mario World. I have owned it in many different ways. I have a cartridge, even though I didn't have an SNES as a kid, but I have the Super Boy. I have the cartridge of it. I had it on downloaded on the. I had it on the Game Boy Advance. I got far in the Game Boy Advance version, but never beat it. I have it on the Wii U, but I beat it on the 3DS. But yeah, I also haven't beaten the secret levels, the extra special levels. I'm going to do that at some point in the future, but I've beaten Bowser, so that's good enough for me. And I've gotten every single other exit or whatever in the other than the special levels. So once I beat the special levels, I've cleared everything. But just beating Bowser was enough for me at the time. Hyrule Warriors Story I just have on there, just kind of as a formality. And then the last 3 on there were Castlevania games. Castlevania 1, 3, and 4, because I already know I don't like Castlevania 2. I played enough of that to know that I don't like it. Castlevania 1 and 3, the thing with those are, I had played them on like emulators and stuff before, and I'm like, oh, these are fairly good games. And I even went and said that, like, you know, Castlevania 3 was one of my favorite games in the series at one point, but I've actually played them now, and my opinion of them is not that great. It's the main problems I have with the Castlevania games on the NES are the controls. They're stiff. The jumping is terrible. You move too slow. Your attacks are inaccurate a lot of the time because of that. The monster placement is heinous. Yes, I use the word heinous. What are you going to do? Now, I'm not saying that it's a bad game. I mean, if you're good at the game, if you can get used to the controls. I mean, I try not to bring up the get used to the controls argument too much because I am of the... I subscribe to the camp that says if you have to get used to controls, they're not good. They're bad controls, and the game is not fun. Basically how I feel about Star Fox Zero. And I know that there are a lot of people who say that Castlevania 1 is an absolute classic. It's one of the best games ever made. And if you think that, more power to you. Everyone has their own opinions. I just don't feel that way. I forced myself to beat that game. I'm surprised that I beat the game, even using save states. I practically had to beat Dracula without getting hit because of how I went in. It's terrible for me. It was a terrible game. Castlevania 3 was better. I did get to see some kind of sort of its nice, nicer qualities, like the branching paths, and I got Alucard to follow me around, even though he kind of sucked. But yeah, I didn't finish Castlevania 3. I got fed up with it. I was almost done with the game too, and I'm fed up. I'm not gonna get angry at this game anymore. I'm just gonna turn it off and abandon ship on it. Castlevania 4, on the other hand, I can say honestly is one of my favorite games still. I mean, I considered it to be before, but it was mainly because, like, nostalgia putting the music in my head. The music is fantastic. But Castlevania 4 takes a lot of the problems that I had with those other two games and fixes them. You still do move a little bit slowly, but it's at a more decent clip than Castlevania 1 or 3. And I think even Castlevania 3, you moved faster than that than in 1. The jumping wasn't terrible. You could attack in all the directions with the whip. You could do the hold down, you can, like, flail it around. That was kind of cool. The swinging was neat. I love the control setup, because this is one of the few Castlevania games where you can actually set a sub-weapon onto a separate button. And by default, it's on R, and it works really well there. I really enjoyed the hell out of it. And they use the music to great effect, too. I mean, the entire soundtrack is great, but a little bit of spoileriness. When you get to the end and you fight Dracula, like, the initial music that plays during the fight is the same that from the mini level before, that leading up to him. And then when you knock off to his second form, it kicks in with Simon's theme, which is the music from the first level, and it's so awesomely epic. I was actually beating it on my lunch break at work, and I'm like, this is so fucking awesome. But I love Castlevania 4. It was fantastically great. I can't recommend that enough. But since then, I basically branched. I think, like, Mario World was, like, the last thing I beat. And then I only had a couple days left until Dragon Quest Builders. I played that a lot. I can definitely say that's one of my favorite games too. It's a lot better than Minecraft, in my opinion. I mean, I like Minecraft enough, but Dragon Quest Builders is definitely better in a lot of the ways that it's presented. Highly recommend that if you have a PS4 or PS Vita. My brother, who was actually up for this past week, was playing it a lot, and he really liked it too. So I'm thinking of getting him, like, a PS TV or something for Christmas so they can just, like, hook up and play Dragon Quest Builders on. And Pokemon Sun. I've been playing that since Builders. Because I actually finished Builders, like, a week or so before Pokemon Sun came out. So everything's been, like, going nicely, because I actually had planned on putting the backlog on hold when Dragon Quest Builders came out. And I just happened to beat a game, like, a couple of days before, so that worked out really well. And I beat Dragon Quest Builders, like, a week before Pokemon came out. And now, once I'm done with Pokemon, I'm going to go back to the backlog, but still, Pokemon Sun is good. I do think it's a good game. I know I was on the fence, like, months ago before, and then I started seeing trailers and got really excited, so I got it, and it's really good. There are some things I don't like about it. It's definitely not... At this point, I'm not done with it, so I'm gonna, save my judgment for whether or not I consider it to be one of my favorites or not. It is a hell of a lot better than what we've been getting the past few generations. I thought that the non-remake games for Gens 4, 5, and 6, especially 5, were, like, meh at best. I mean, they were good mechanically, but, like, the stories were just, like, the same that we'd seen in Generation 3. Sun and Moon seem to have, like, the same sort of story, but there are some things there are enough differences, like, to say that I can definitely say that they're better than the past 3 generations. Even though, I'm currently in the middle of, like, a big story moment here, like, in the middle of a plot twist that I actually saw coming a mile away, like, before the game even came out. During the trailers, when they, like, introduced characters and whatnot, I was immediately like, okay, those guys are evil. There's no way in hell, look, because the trailer was, I'm going into spoiler territory, but, it was, like, introducing characters, and look how awesome these characters are. I'm like, yep, they're bad guys. They're the bad guys. I know that there's actually an evil team there, but they're bad guys. And I pretty much called it, but, it's whatever. I'm trying to, get my point across without being too spoilery, but I don't know how effective I was with that. Oh, who cares? At this point. It's what's done is done. But there are a couple of things that either really irk me about it or I don't like. The one thing that I do not like is that wild Pokemon can call for help. And it's mainly from a Pokemon catching standpoint. Like, I'm okay with them showing up for help if I'm grinding experience, because then that's just more experience that'll come out of that battle. That's fine. But when I'm actually trying to catch Pokemon, it's like, you know, another one comes up, and then you try throwing the Pokeball at the one you've already weakened, and it's like, oh, it's impossible to aim at your Pokeball when there are 2 Pokemon on the field. No, it fucking isn't. You can... I'm not the most accurate person at throwing things, but if there is one of 2 targets, I'm fairly sure that I can throw it at the right one. Just saying. They've been doing this since Gen 4 introduced dual battles in wild Pokemon. I mean, I know Gen 3 introduced dual battles, but dual battles in wild encounters first started showing up in Diamond and Pearl, and it was stupid then, stupid now. And it just draws out the battles far too long, and I don't care for it. I also don't like how the game railroads you into following the story. Whenever I go to a new city and I see all these different exits, I can't go to any of the exits and explore what's out there. You know, that's what, you know, HM barriers and whatnot were for. You can go out and you can explore, but you can't get past this barrier without an HM. Well, now you have to, now you keep running into, like, if you go to the exit of the town, you'll run into some NPC who's blocking the way saying, oh, I'm doing this right now. You can't pass by here. Why don't you go to your next story objective instead? Because I want to explore out there. You can't stop me. Well, obviously I can. Well, bollocks. And lastly, this isn't really so much of a deal breaker or anything like that, but I don't like how the Island Challenge replaced the Pokemon gyms. Now, don't get me wrong, I like the Island Trials. I think they're a neat thing that kind of shakes things up. But I was hoping that they would have those in there in addition to the gyms rather than replacing them. Just, you know, add more variety rather than putting in a new thing and then just taking the old thing away, because people are sick of that. And I know that there are people who are sick of it. There are a lot of people that say, oh, you know, the gyms, they're kind of a tired premise now. I'm sick of the gyms, but I like the gyms. I like the Elite Four and the Champion. Yeah, it was cliche, and yeah, it was a thing. And I realize that Game Freak does kind of try to, my battery's running low, does kind of try to, you know, change it up every so often, but at the same time, don't fix what's not broken. Again, the Island Trials are good. I just wish they would have been in conjunction with the gyms. Other than that, the game is great. I'm really enjoying it. But I should probably go ahead and end the video here before my battery runs out, because I'm at 5% battery. Yeah, recording like this for like an hour will do that for you. Anyway, so basically, look forward to a new Let's Play of a non-PS4 variety coming up next week, when I actually have time to record something like that. It'll be super fun, and I'm looking forward to it. I hope you look forward to watching. I've been RadoVlog, and I'll be here next time. Join me, won't you?